Warriors, come out to play. Warriors, come out to...
What up, everybody? I think we've worked out some technical stuff. I am talking with Terse, tournament organizer of the Lodge Wars for the Lodge Warriors, and Cobaltan, who has posted up his games from the finals of the final game against the Seekers X Lodge. And we've got some replays to share. We're trying to do audio commentary with Terse and Cobaltan as well, and we're trying to sync this. You can't see on the screen here. We're watching it on a different video due to devices and technology. Just we're trying to sync it as best we can. So hopefully the commentary will match what's on my screen, because I think we're going to cue it at the same time. So I am set. Terse, Cobaltan, are you guys set?
I am as well. So I would say we give it a try.
All right.
I start it and you try to sync it up.
Okay, ready? Start game one. Watch it.
Okay.
Oh, I better turn my shit down. That's way too loud.
So
do you want to give some background on what the state is at this point?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Give us your insight and what went wrong, what went right.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
Right now, the series is 1-1, so that's the key thing. This is actually the third game on the last
this is
to play.
game one, I believe.
No, I know, but I'm saying this is game one of our series. But I want the listeners to know that the other two games have already been played, so the series is 1-1. And this is the decider between me and Zane.
Yeah, it was tight. I think both matches went three games long, with basically being a 2-1 win. So
actually, it's really, really close. Like every matchup was 2-1 for any side, and in total the Lodge Wars finals ended 2-1, so it was as close as it could get.
So if you guys watch this first game, you'll actually find the irony here is I thought I was facing Erebus. So that's why I was actually busy pinging my teammates and also the judge to actually check out who the actual warlord was. I had gotten really busy in real life, so I had just gone off what one of my teammates said, which is, I was facing Korax, which is half right, and then the second part was Erebus, which was unfortunately, I think, a slip of the tongue. They meant Rom. So against Erebus, as you'll see, that's why the Tiburon, the Thodrion is in there, because I don't want it to get stolen by Architect. So it's a weird coincidence of this game.
Well, and with Rom,
actually,
he could still use
Architect.
Yeah,
it was quite funny. Like, I immediately looked up the roster and I was like, yeah, it's posted since 6 weeks what every guy is playing. And it was, kind of surprising, I have to say.
Yeah, I had gotten a little lazy because usually, like, Alex kind of like, yes, I'm the captain, I guess, but Alex is the most gung-ho. So he sort of, like, is the first one to message us to get us started. And he, like, follows the bracket religiously right when it comes out. So when it came out, over the weekend, he was like, you're facing this and this, guard buddy, you're facing this and this, I'm facing this and this. And he must have just slipped the tongue. So I didn't look again to double check, which is completely my fault. So you can tell I'm losing this game. There isn't much to say. I'm just playing from a position from behind. I'm mentally not in it. Like, I'm playing, but I'm kind of surprised, at what's going on. And you can see it's not really the closest. And it doesn't matter because I would have lost either way because of this card, the barge. And you will see what happens next.
I think the game isn't as bad. Like, the matchup Saul versus Rome, it's okay. Like, if you can get your big stuff out early, it helps a lot. But this draw is really, really good. And, like, double
second barge.
It's like,
there's no chance.
The nail in the coffin. That's horrible.
That's brutal.
The great thing with Saul, why I've always loved him, is he turns he just does his own plan. He's the great warlord to play first because you play the same game basically against everyone. He's effectively a ramp, right? He's just trying to ramp out threats as quick as you can, and that's just generally good. So it doesn't really matter if I'm facing Rom or Erebus. I'm going to be doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually agree. Like, you pressure your opponent so much with Saul that it doesn't even matter what your opponent is playing. But in this case, like, with two huge comeback cards, like, Barge twice is... Yeah, it's
And there's no answer to Barge. Like, granted, it's a lot better now that they've nerfed monsters, right? So the monsters Barge used to be completely game over. So it's better now.
Yeah.
But if you play Saul, you kind of realize it's not about taking AoEs or it's censoring. You just don't do that with Saul. You just want to ramp and you throw your threats and you hope you win. So once it's in this state, it's over pretty much.
I'm quite unsure if we are stuck right at the moment, turn 8, or if you surrender.
No, I surrendered. I just
okay.
So
there's obviously no coming back at this point.
Okay, so I was just wondering if the video wasn't moving anymore, like, okay. Yeah, so game 1 was...
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So, Scarf?
All right, so
are you ready for game number 2?
I am ready for game number 2. Ready? Watch it.
Okay.
I think I'm about a second behind you here, so let's go ahead and hit done now. All right, looks like we're on point.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't like the matchup Saul versus Korax, and I wonder why you did it.
So because it's still better than Kurz versus Korax. From my estimation, Kurz versus Korax is 80-20 in Korax's favor now. The real problem has become Mortis and Umbra. Like now, Korax, and I started playing the game with Raven Guard, so I am into Raven Guard. I love them. They're my favorite tabletop faction. But now Raven Guard is, especially with Korax, he's so snowbally. He's like sanguineous, basically. So because of that, like my view is that Kurz versus Korax is even worse. So that's why I still stuck with Saul the second game.
I agree with you to a certain degree, but
Boy, sticking
I
that.
don't know if like the 30 HP Saul has aren't a major problem. Like, you are very, very vulnerable to the aggression, and I think the 40 health or hit points help a lot.
Yes, but you'd be surprised. Like Kurz, you just don't win the game. You just don't lose as you just don't lose as fast. My experience from all the test games, like I did against Alex, he beat me probably 6 out of 7 games, if not more, with Korax versus Kurz. It's very one-sided, and from my opinion. And the other thing is also I've played this Saul deck since December last year, relatively unchanged. So it was the first deck I made top 50 with. So I can play this deck in my sleep. So when I'm down 0-1, I'm going to default to this deck over Kurz, who I wanted to pick even in this format. I actually played G-Man, or Gilliman is my favorite. But since my teammate played Thiel, I couldn't play Gilliman. Hence, I ended up going with Kurz. So a lot of that is at stake. So
No,
maybe I'm just more comfortable with Saul. So he's my fallback.
That's a brutal
To
steal.
be honest, this match is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why he has this board. Like, I'm watching the video and I'm unsure how it comes down to this.
Because I don't get the Tact Brilliance, Rylanor, the typical explosive start you would think with Saul, right? Like,
Yeah.
I have an okay start. You see, I did a full mulligan. I don't have something wonderful. But this turn right here,
That's, yeah, I can see that coming around here with the
Yeah, it
stun.
comes, the Aitoshin squad will come, I believe. Yeah, and then you finish with Sadaron.
Nice.
Yep. And at this point, I'm just trying to avoid like guerrilla warfare. Like that's why I put the troops that way and just a certain play this way. I'm hoping to draw pride, obviously.
Obviously, his play will be what?
Was he going to try?
I was quite sure he would go for.
Is he going to Deliverance?
Spells.
Yeah.
He does.
Ah, okay.
But it's a YOLO stealth, right? So
Yeah.
he must not have ways to elongate the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and it's lethal on board, obviously. Like, exactly lethal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the two Scutari, I just drew the, funny enough, the pride comes, granted I don't need it at that point, but...
Nice.
Yeah, but it shows that even old legions, old warlords, which haven't been touched by the developers for a while, are still able to compete. Like, there are some legions which haven't been changed a lot in ages, which are still very, very good.
EC is strong. I mean, the only ability they're missing is Ward and Precog. I mean, other than that, they pretty much have a Survivor, but that's not as germane. But you're right, they have hard removal, and obviously they have ramp. And ramp just means you're ahead of the mana curve. You have asteroid belts for free.
Ramp has always been very, very good.
Yeah.
Correct.
So,
I mean, I played ramp in Hearthstone. I played ramp in Elder Scrolls. It was always my favorite way of playing.
Ramp
it worked in
plus
Magic.
ramp.
So it works in every card game.
Ramp
It's
plus curve
consistent.
reward.
Okay, maybe we should talk a bit about the game 3, which is coming up now. Like, there was an issue with a disconnect.
Yes.
And I was contacted by the players and watched this video, and we show it, or don't we show it? Yeah?
I'm for either or. I think we should see it, just so people can kind of see where the game state was at. I don't think there's anything majorly controversial about it.
Yeah, okay. So, I watched this game with the main lodge leader of the Seekers as well, and we agreed that the game was in a state where no clear winner was able to be determined. So,
And that's. I'm just going to point out because it's on my screen. That's why Einhar is in Traitors End right now. He came over to kind of view that replay as well. So.
correct. So, you call when we start?
Yep. Ready? Click. Watch it.
Yep.
Hey, guys.
Me.
So this... Oh, sorry.
Done. Go.
Okay.
So this final game, I think I have much of a chance, right? So, like I said, in this matchup, it's very far behind. So I'm just doing the best I can. I'm kind of resigned to losing, honestly. I've lost, probably 80-90% of my games against Korax with Curves. So during the tournament, I had played some OTK Raven. If some of you who played against me, you saw that. I had tested OTK Raven against Korax, but Korax is just too fast, especially if he gets off Mordas and Umbra on turn 5. You're wiped out before you can even do the OTK Raven, which still takes 11 or 12 turns to do. It's not really a super fast thing. So at this point, I'm looking to basically prolong the game with Curves any way I can. So you'll see a lot of healing in this deck, a little bit of card draw, because that's probably Curves' most fundamental problem. He can get value, but you just have... So you'll see these cards in here. They're not typical Curves cards, but all I'm trying to do is elongate the game.
And when I watched the game, I have to say, Zonix played it really, really good. Like, he puts out so much pressure, like, you only react to him. And that's pretty smart. Like, he knows the matchup, he understands the matchup, he probably doesn't know your deck, he absolutely knows what the game plan is to win. Like, strike hard, turn after turn.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. And I mean, a lot of it comes down to who goes first. Does that someone get asteroid belt on turn 3? We're both packing it, so you know it's coming. And he gets Umbra on turn 5. What more could he want?
Yeah, plus having that board state.
And this is the leaf?
Correct. So this gets a little interesting, right? If you see my hand, I have tons of healing, but he's clearly ahead. I mean, he's very clearly ahead. If we were to use like a poker analogy, like he's ahead on the turn, right? Like we're 4 cards through. He's quite a bit ahead. Now I could still spike a card. I mean, I still have lots of healing. I have ways to elongate the game. I probably can make it. I think I'm pretty safely. I can make it to madness, but again, I'm treading water. I'm fighting uphill. I haven't had any foothold this entire game, to be honest.
That's something I think all agreed on, but our main problem was, like, we had no clear evidence that at this point the game was over. Like, there were at least 2 more turns, minimum, maybe 3. What cards will be drawn and what plays will be made in the future, and that was the point where we said, okay, let's replay the game. Like, just start it as it never happened, and make it a just straight up new game 3. And I think it's the fairest choice, because from my point, like, Sonic was ahead. I was told his laptop crashed, wasn't his fault. I can't take the win from him for a game crash. And neither can I take the win away from Cobaltan, like when he has options and is clearly not in lethal range. Like, there was no lethal in hand. So there was no choice other than a replay. And that's something also the leader of Seekers, Ein here, agreed on, and we had a very good talk, and he said, yeah, like, replay is the only option. Like, it's the fairest to both players, and yeah, they played it, and we can watch it.
All right.
Scuff, what do you think? Like, if we don't mind me pausing, since you're seeing this for the first time, you're the obviously Terse and I participated in this situation. What are your thoughts seeing it now?
Well, for me, part of the especially with it being, you know, a finals match in the tournament series, I definitely would have wanted to see a replay take place. Like, just I'd hate to see the series end on a loss or a reward, one way or the other, via a disconnect where a game's not finished. Looking at the game state itself, like Terse says, I mean, you don't know what cards are going to be drawn. You don't know what the turn's going to go for the next 2 turns, which there really was with what the healing and health that you had the ability to prolong it. And in the prolonging, at the same time, he might not draw, he might do a misplay, he might not, vice versa, you could too. It's not just a one turn like, oh yeah, he had lethal, or there's no way you're coming back from that because you'd already played your big stuff. You hadn't even seen any of your big stuff just yet. So I think the replay is the most fairest thing. I don't think it made sense to me, and at the same time, as a viewer, it felt right for a finals game. I think if it wasn't a top cut or a finals match, if it was in the group stage, I'd still feel a little bit sour because you never want to see it end like that. But at the same time, it's hard to say 6 turns in when a disconnect happens. You know, there's so many things. Yeah, it could have been a crash. There could be a player that is making a quick sub where they realize, like, oh, I've got the wrong deck. I've got 5 Korax decks, and I pulled the one that has got these 2 cards in it that I don't need in this match. Not saying that happened here at all. I'm just like, there's always that possibility that deep into the game, and the game's not going one way or the other like a huge swing. So I think it definitely was a very fair call and the right call in terms of just the for the spirit of the game too. I was happy to hear that that's how it went. That they went to the Game 4 replay. So.
And
I feel
to be honest,
obviously.
we agreed as like when my co-tournament organizer, we had a match where we had to do a ruling and we had to vote for a winner, and we had something like there was a clear lethal in hand the next turn, like he could show a screenshot of it to us, and that's something neither player can in this situation.
Right.
And that's the point where like we have the problem, like Cobaltan, you and I were in the same lodge. That's always like there's a small stigma, so I can't say like I'm very, very cautious about making an ruling which is questionable. Like, and this was the only way to make it fair. And I agree with all you said, Scuff, and I think I'm here as well. And that's pretty cool. Like, the matches have been super fair. Like, it was very, very cool. Like, there was no bragging or something like excessive questions to any tournament organizer about this and that. It was like friendly matches, and that's very, very nice to see in the finals. Like, there is a prize pool, and people want to win prizes, obviously. So, it's cool that we all behave like adults in situations like this.
And I feel very bad, obviously. This isn't how I would have preferred to play, and it's very unfortunate that, his computer crashed at that exact time. Granted, also, he doesn't know my hold cards, right? So he had no way of knowing I had so much healing and manifest destiny in my hand. I hope he kind of sees this, because that may or may not make him feel better.
Right.
I can't say. But he doesn't know that I have that strategy, in fact, too, right? To elongate the game and make it go longer, And I could draw Nostromo, I could draw a few things, but he's clearly ahead. So it is a tough call, even on this one. I would have been okay with any ruling. I would have been okay with a draw, a loss, a play again, anything was fine.
Yeah, a draw is the same like a replay. Like, I had to take a winner. Like, there has to be a winner in the finals, just for the prize pool. So, in this moment where the series is absolutely tight, like, exactly tight, and this is the last game of the whole series, yeah, you have to replay it.
This is
you
that.
Earned your paycheck today.
Yeah.
You earned your paycheck as a judge today.
This is that.
Having to make a ruling at this.
Oh, this was one of the easier rulings. I had worse, way worse this tournament, but it went well.
Yeah.
So, and I'm quite happy it is over, and I'm already looking forward to the next one, which isn't too far off. Like, I spoke with some other tournament organizers and to see what's up next, and there are some minor things, like there will also be a Reddit tournament in the next month, which Dawn Stash and I will organize. And hopefully it will be something like the second founding. So for newer players or players with only few, is it legendary points or what's it called?
Oh, the second founding. Yeah.
Yeah, legendary points. Yeah. So the chance for people who are not as experienced as those guys you see on the weekly tournament regularly or on Lodge Wars, like, those guys are more or less playing for years sometimes and play ladder for a long time, and so we will have some tournaments in the future, and Lodge Wars will happen before winter. It will be sometime in autumn.
That's awesome.
That's something I can say already.
Just in time for the Imperial Fists, hopefully. I said just in time for the Imperial Fists, hopefully.
Yeah, we will see. Like, this Lodge Wars really didn't allow the new legions, like neither Ruinstorm, nor White Scars, nor Blood Angels, because, they are quite experimental on release, and sometimes game-breaking, under or overpowered, and so it's it's smarter to have like the established legions for a tournament like this, because it's not a weekly where you know what patches, nerfs, buffs will hit each legion, because over a time span of 8 weeks, anything can happen, and especially for newer legions.
Mm-hmm.
And Corax.
Corax
Corax got buffed right before the tournament. Like, he buffed the patch maybe 2 days before the tournament came out. So everyone...
There is a short side story. We wanted to start a week earlier, and then, I was told there was a major patch incoming, and I had to talk to Everguild. Like, I contacted them, and at that point it was, no patch is coming. And then LCFR contacted me and said, oh, there is a patch coming. Don't start a week later. And I listened to him, and thank God. Like, that was a major patch which hit, and it was good. And I think many people changed to Corax, like a lot. I think we had 3 or 4 Corax before the patch, and after the patch hit, it was like 12, 14. I think you have a list.
I've got it somewhere.
Obviously, Corax is the top warlord now, but we keep in mind none of us know that at that time, right? So we had a hint Corax was good, and we were all starting to play a little bit Corax, but all of us were thinking about it. My teammate Alex actually did switch to Corax. He was a Corax player originally, even before the buff came, and he wanted Corax. He was originally going to be Horus, I believe, Horus and Theo. So adding to Corax, that sort of locked me into Curves, because we were actually debating who would play Gilliman or Theo, because I actually, in a lot of the pre-qualifier tournaments, I was Saul and Gilliman. I know Gilliman's a little unusual, but he's amazing in this type of format, because you can customize your decks against other warlords, and Gilliman has 40 hit points, he has a lot of card slots, he has static sabotage and direct damage, he has a finisher, he has obviously the Marcellus Dreadnought, so Gilliman is great here, not so good on ladder. So we were debating a lot of this, but Corax ended up being everyone's favorite, and we faced a lot of Corax throughout the tournament.
The whole Gilliman topic is quite interesting for me, because I never thought about it, to be honest. Like, I know when the patch hit, I was asking Alex for his Lodge Wars deck, because I knew that Alex is quite good as a deck builder. Like, I run his tier, and I run every version of his tier. Like, I think there are 2, and they have been permanently great. Like, for our in-house tournament, I used the tier, and it was really, really fun. Like,
me and Alex have slightly different play style. He's a little more aggro, a little more tempo, and you can tell, I'm a ramper value guy. So I like Gilliman, whereas he likes Steel, right? So I know it's weird with Saul, because Saul seems like an aggro guy, but Saul is actually a very, I don't want to say cowardly, but Saul is kind of cowardly, because you're just kind of ramping ahead of everyone, and you're being safe that way. So in doing I know now we're broadening to just general topics, but we had looked at some of the pairings. So Alex was Theo and ultimately Corax. Guard Buddy was Alfarius and Fail. So Fail was another interesting list that I had actually built. Some of you guys may have faced us, would have seen that Fail list. We had actually experimented with that Fail list right when Horus and Kareen and that meta was, I believe, not mistaken. So we had actually discovered how good Fail was once Drilling Sites came out. So that Fail deck also became a huge foundation of our success. I wish Guard Buddy was here. He can talk about that. It's a deck that we had kind of built together as well. Same principle sort of as Gilliman, where you're just extracting a ton of value I wouldn't say late game, but kind of like turns 7, 8, 9, and 10. You just get so much value from Gilliman and Ultramarines, and ultimately fail. So we sort of rode that to the victory.
There's a video about the games from Guard Buddy versus, I think, Zedor, if I'm correct. And his fail is really, really good. And I watched a lot of matchups from Guard Buddy against Hertzen and others from our lodge for some in-house fun. And it's
not to take credit for that, but that deck was the one I built. So me and with the help of my lodge members, Mercilli particularly, me and him actually built that one out, and we had experimented with that and posted it very early in the February-March cycle. So it was kind of like an ace on our hole, because not many people knew how good Fail was. Like, we knew how good Fail was internally, because we had each made top 50 with it at the height of Horus's and Kareen's power. Imagine how, if a 30 hit point warlord with that much burn and that much card copying can still work, how powerful he is. And there was only one other Fail player, I believe. It was someone within our, not Traitors End Lodge, but it was Shea Gooden in Epe. And we actually placed him in the first round playing Fail. I had to face him with my own deck, which was the irony, in the very first game of the tournament. And he was very, very close to beating me. But Mike Juback ended up copying like some ridiculous card, and I ended up winning. But otherwise, that Fail pretty much was a kind of a hidden gem that we sort of had throughout. And that and Saul, like Saul for me, I probably didn't lose a game with Saul. I think this is the first game I actually lost with Saul, the one you saw this first posting. I hadn't lost a game with Saul the entire Lodge Wars or qualifying tournament up to this point.
Okay, well, let's see the last game, I would say, so people don't have to wait too long for it.
Let's watch it.
I'm ready.
If you want to edit it out, stuff.
No, that's all.
This middle part. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine.
Anything out? Like we had episodes where we wanted to talk about like for 30 minutes and ended up 2 hours or something like that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Go.
Go ahead, watch it. Click.
Okay.
Click, click. Okay.
So big difference here you notice is I go first.
Click
right?
done.
You say done?
Yes, go. Go.
Okay.
I think I'm like 3 seconds
So
ahead
I
of you.
haven't seen this game either, so I'm quite interested what will happen. I just got Cobaltan's message, like how happily he was when he won, and told me that was quite surprising for him, I believe.
Correct. I went into this not thinking this was a good matchup for me.
Well,
Not a very auspicious start.
No, that's a rough start. Yeah. Draw some heat away from Kurz at least.
Keeps your board pretty clean, like every turn he removes the stuff you play. So question is, do you, warlord attack, okay.
Yeah, there's no point in playing Ordaris. I like to play board presence generally, but if I'm Kurz in this matchup, I'm playing the long game. So normally, like if I was Saul, I would play Ordaris, but as Kurz, I don't.
Okay. Difficult round for you, I believe. Like, you play the Reaper, so far so good, but I would expect a Speeder as an answer.
Oh, well, that's just about as effective.
Yeah.
You could lower the attack with Dravian and get rid of that.
Yeah, but, okay. That's something, like, I would have the, Tech Marine with, the Reaper and, Curse. Like, use your Warlord ability to get off Terra and clear it. That would have been my option, but obviously, like, I guess you will
He's
Yeah.
going the aggressive, as you can tell, right?
Yeah,
so,
obviously.
So once he's going the aggro route, it also helps me know what he's doing, right? At this point, it also sort of, since he has more cards than me, right? And he's due back 2 turns. So at this point, you can sort of guess, does he play the long game? Because he has card advantage on me. And he also has more draw sources. Is he going to be aggro, or is he going to be long game? And he's going to be aggro. And you can see what I did there is, I actually did a board play there, right? I cleared with my face so that I could play the Joker on a...
And really push that threat out.
Yeah.
So this is another interesting call here. Do I use face or informant network, right? So I could clear with informant network, but then I was like, oh no, I can actually clear using some health, and obviously by lowering the attack of the Joker. And I keep a mini threat on the board.
To be honest, I like the call with clearing face. Like, you don't have, or you didn't have anti-stealths in your hand at that turn. So keeping the option to anti-stealth anytime is way more important, I believe.
And health totals are close. If our health totals were not close, I might have played that different.
Okay, that was a bad play by him, I believe.
Yeah.
Like, now you play Apusi at this, I believe. Yeah, obviously. And go step.
I think he was really just kind of trying to force the game there.
Yeah, and I don't know how much anti-stealth he runs.
Yep, at this point he's used one of his speeders, which is the biggest card, obviously, against Kurtz. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's used one informant. So he's used maybe 2 out of 3, maybe 2 out of 4. I don't know.
And he used his...
Jokers.
What's it called? Jokers, right. Or did he steal them?
I think he might have stolen it.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I can't remember. So this is the usual Kurt, nothing special.
Question is, does he find... Oh.
So I start going for lethal here, and I had some debate on this one, but I'm thinking why I decided to play the Raven here. Maybe you could extend the game longer. Is again, he has card advantage on me. He has more cards, right? I want to put him a little bit on the clock. Now, I didn't expect Remembrance Order to come out and steal my my manifest, so the plan sort of backfires a little bit. But my thinking there is I want to get him down to low health so he's on the clock.
Oh, that's good. Maybe we see Joker plus Informant network?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't want to reveal him. I don't want to use both because then I'm playing the trap. The trap is kind of useless. I know it's there, but it forces him to have to at least make a decision between clearing the Joker or clearing the trap.
Wasn't there the option to clear the whole board? I think you could have attacked the Shadow Wardens twice and used Informant Network to clear the 1 hit point speed. No.
I have to watch it again. I'm not. You're probably right. I went with this line of play for whatever reason in the moment.
But this is also smart, like taking some hits, like from the Shadow Wardens, but being stealth afterwards.
Mm-hmm. And you're
I have
still
a high enough health pool and manifest. That 1 hit, like 5 damage, isn't going to crush me. And as you see, I have the high health. And I'm just praying he doesn't get Informant or another spear.
Yeah, and this is more or less lethal.
Correct.
Orbital, yeah.
Because he has no expectation. You know? That's kind of a tech card that was put in this game. just for this scenario. So
Yeah.
the premise of the deck is healing and then chip damage with orbital, and that's effectively what played out in this game. And
That's he had no answer anymore. Like, yeah, nice, really good game. Like, you had a really good hand for this matchup. I don't know what he had in hand, but yeah, it was a really close game in general. Like, it doesn't seem like it, but it was like you drew the right cards at the right moment, and you played it correctly, I would say. And maybe at some point he overplayed his board. He felt too much you could clear with your anti-styles and stuff like that, and you got to your metas pretty early. Like, you
the
had to
apotheosis turn.
Yeah,
was the main
apotheosis
turn. Was the main turn.
forgiveness. That's yeah. At that point, your opponent will run out of anti-stats at some point, and that's a huge issue, especially if you have the possibility to get into stealth any other turn. Yeah,
And
so
also, he didn't draw Mordis, if you can tell. That's probably the biggest difference in the game. Mordis and Umbra is just such a key part of Korax now. It's the most powerful thing Korax does, and that wasn't shown in this last game.
really good. Like, the combo, it's like 5 into 6 energy, and it hurts so much. What it's like, it's 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 11 damage over 2 turns. If I'm
It's
correct.
more if he more
Yeah,
just gets
but
attacked,
that's just
right?
the Umbra and the Moradis. Like, if you attack with some cards as well, like with your Warlock, so it's even more damage. True. It's like better than next, to be honest, because it's cheaper and it is obviously unstoppable.
Correct.
Like,
It's
with the Kaidus, you can put up frontline, something like that, but versus Moradis, it's all useless.
I have a feeling they might tone it back a little bit. I don't know, but it's just maybe a gut feeling of mine. Like slightly too good. They just to be able to bring so much damage out of hand so quick. But again, I don't know.
Yeah, I think there are some issues with the Raven Guard. Like, I had some complaints on the subreddit for the Horus Heresy Legions, like people complaining about Raven Guard, especially what's it called? The home planet of the Raven Guard.
Deliverance?
Deliverance.
Yeah, Deliverance. That's very stealthy, especially with so many fast troops, and if you lack anti-stealth, it breaks the game.
It's a beautiful
Simple as
card.
that. Like, Nostramo is also a very good card, but with Nostramo, if you run a Legion which relies on active abilities, Nostramo doesn't stop you. And
It's that, and also Nostramo doesn't stop fast units.
right, that's
But Raven Guard were so bad for so long, and Deliverance used to be such a bad card. So I remember when, my first Legion I collected was Raven Guard, and it was just, it was bad. So I feel, I can feel both ways about this one, honestly.
Yeah.
So I can kind of understand why it's a little better than maybe it should be right now. And, I agree with you too. It does turn the game a little binary. Like, same thing with, like, Nassau. Either you have an answer or you don't. It's not necessarily the most dynamic when it's just stealth or anti-stealth.
right, yeah, I think so too.
I think the one thing, the main thing that makes them incredibly strong with that the fast combo is that the troop gives sentence on the optimal. So it's not just a 6 is going to hit you on fast. It's that he hits you and also has sentence.
Yeah.
So
Who
if
who
you
is
have the right hand,
who is this strange
you
person
can-
talking?
This is Skull Crusher, and we also have God Buddy.
I know. I know. I see him there. I'm just calling him out. Like, I didn't have any names here, introductions earlier.
Yeah, I closed my game as well, and just had to look up who's joining us right now. So we got the whole crew, I see.
We've got some other guys hopping in, helping us out here.
We just shown the games, including the infamous, semi-infamous replay scenario. So, if you get a chance, you can watch it in the lobby.
Also, I would say, welcome God Buddy, another winner of Lodge Wars. Like, Scuff, you showed his games on your last episode?
Yes.
If I'm correct?
Yep, correct.
So maybe, if we have the chance, he can talk about it as well.
If you guys want to do that, I can.
We kind of, it took us less time to figure out the technical stuff this time around.
But God Buddy is very good in streaming, I heard. Like, he could show us how it has to be done.
Yeah, I'll need some tips.
Sure. But I do gotta say, Cobaltan's fail deck, that thing hasn't failed me the entirety of Lodge War. It was just so dominant. Because I've never used fail.
I have to ask, how long are you watching right now, and what did you notice so far? Like, we talked a bit about the fail deck and about the whole creation of it, and it took many people by surprise, I believe.
Yeah, I hopped in when you guys were doing the game, the one that dropped.
Okay, so you got the whole about. So you're on.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but all credit to Guard Buddy for running it. He ran it absolutely perfect, and with Alpha Arius. Obviously, he's going to run it a little differently than how the deck was built. He has to tailor it for each one of those matchups. It's a very different thing than playing it on ladder. He just took the basic shell, which we had created, and ran with it.
Oh, actually, now that the Lodge War is over, I'm going to show... Is it okay if I show the fail deck? Is that fine? Because it's, the last version of it was very funky, and I was just like, this...
I wouldn't oppose it, I would say.
This is a deck.
I don't know if Scuff is ending his video.
Yeah,
now.
I'll go ahead and cut my
I
audio
still
because
remember
we're running long
when
here.
you guys had just figured out that he was really eager